Welcome to Night Whispers. Tonight, you can relax, let your thoughts slow down, and allow the night to settle in. Here, you will hear calm, paranormal stories. Stories based on real experiences, quiet places, strange encounters, and things that cannot always be explained. There are no loud sounds here, no sudden noises, just a calm voice, the darkness, and the whispers of the night. You should have left when the path was still visible. That thought comes to you quietly, not like panic, not like fear, but like memory returning too late. The forest around you is unchanged. The trees stand exactly as they did before. The mist drifts low between roots. The air remains cold, heavy, still. And yet something is different. You are walking. But you are no longer certain where. The path beneath your feet feels familiar, soft soil, scattered needles, faint impressions where you stepped earlier. You remember this direction. You remember turning here. You remember the angle of the branches above. But the forest does not agree with your memory. The trees ahead seem taller than before. Thicker. Closer together. The space between them narrows in subtle increments, not enough to trap you, only enough to make distance feel wrong. You take another step forward. The ground absorbs the sound instantly. No echo. No disturbance. Your movement disappears as if it never happened. Behind you, the mist gathers slightly. You do not look back. There is no reason to look back. And yet the idea lingers, the quiet suspicion that the path you came from may not be there anymore. You slow your pace. The air feels heavier now, pressing gently against your chest with every inhale. The forest is still breathing, slow, deep, ancient, but the rhythm has changed. It no longer aligns perfectly with yours. It feels offset, as if something inside the woods has shifted out of sync. You stop walking. The forest does not. The mist continues to move. The faint hum beneath the soil continues to pulse. Somewhere far above, branches rub softly together without wind, producing a sound too deliberate to be random. You listen. Silence. Not empty silence, attentive silence. You take another step. The soil beneath your foot sinks slightly deeper than expected. Not enough to stumble. Just enough to remind you that the ground is not passive. A twig snaps behind you. Soft. Careful. Controlled. You turn slowly. Nothing. Only trunks. Shadows. Mist drifting between roots. But the corridor you walked through looks narrower than before. The trees on either side lean inward by what feels like inches. Their branches stretch slightly lower, thickening the darkness above. You tell yourself it is perspective. Light distortion. Fatigue. You face forward again. The path ahead bends gently to the left. You do not remember it bending. You are certain it was straight. You follow it anyway. Each step feels heavier. Not physically, perceptually. As though the act of moving forward requires quiet permission from the forest itself. The hum beneath the soil deepens. You feel it now through your boots, through your legs, into your ribs. It is not loud. It is not sharp. It is simply present, constant and deliberate. The mist thickens. It rises slightly higher than before, brushing your knees before settling again. It does not cling to you. It does not wrap around you. It simply moves in patterns that feel too controlled to be natural. You stop once more. The mist continues forward without you. Only slightly. Only a few inches. Then it pauses, as if noticing you have stopped. The air grows colder. Not gradually. Suddenly. Your breath becomes visible again, faint white shapes dissolving almost instantly into the dark. The trees ahead look darker than they should. Their bark reflects less light. Their shadows appear thicker, denser, almost solid. You take a slow breath. The forest does not match it. You exhale. The hum beneath the ground shifts, just slightly, like something adjusting its weight deep below. A branch creaks to your left. You turn your head. There is nothing there. But the distance between two trunks has changed. You are certain of it. You were watching that space only moments ago. It was wider. Now it feels tight, compressed, as though the forest has quietly narrowed its own geometry. You take a step backward. The ground behind you feels softer than before. Too soft. You glance down. Your footprint is deeper than it should be. Not dramatically. Just enough to feel wrong. You step forward again quickly. The soil firms beneath your weight as if correcting itself. The mist shifts. The hum continues. You begin walking faster. Not running. Just enough to prove to yourself that you still control direction. The trees ahead seem to move, not physically, but in alignment. Their trunks form a gentle curve, guiding your path without touching you. Their branches stretch just low enough to discourage turning. You are being directed. Not chased. Not trapped. Guided. The realization does not come with panic. It comes with clarity. The forest does not need to block you. It only needs to suggest the way forward. You slow again. The path curves right this time. You follow it. The air feels thinner now, not lighter, but more precise, as though each breath is being measured. Somewhere ahead, something shifts. Not loudly. Not suddenly. Just enough to disturb the rhythm beneath the soil. The hum falters. For half a second. Then resumes. But the pattern is different now. Lower. Slower. Heavier. You stop completely. The forest grows still. The mist freezes mid-drift. The branches cease their subtle movement. Even the hum beneath the earth stretches thin, like a breath held too long. You are no longer certain whether you are standing in the forest, or whether the forest is standing around you. A single sound breaks the stillness. A soft exhale. Not yours. Not wind. Not an animal. It comes from ahead. Low. Slow. Close. The mist parts slightly between two trees. Not dramatically. Just enough to form a darker shape within the darkness. You cannot see what stands there. But you feel its awareness, focused, patient, deliberate. You take one careful step backward. The ground behind you yields. Not collapsing. Receiving. The darker shape does not move. It does not need to. The forest around you tightens subtly, not closing in, but aligning, adjusting, narrowing the world to a single corridor between you and whatever waits ahead. Your breath slows on its own. The air grows colder. The hum beneath the earth deepens once more. And for the first time since entering the forest, you understand something that has been true from the beginning. You were never meant to leave. You do not run. Running would mean panic. And panic would mean you still believe this is something ordinary. Instead, you stand very still and let your breathing slow on its own. The darker shape ahead does not move. It does not need to. Its presence alone reshapes the air between you and it. The mist begins to drift again. But not randomly. It thickens behind you first. You do not turn. Not yet. The hum beneath the soil continues, lower now, heavier, like something vast shifting its way deeper underground. The trees around you seem taller than before. Their trunks rise straight and endless, disappearing into blackness that feels thicker than night. You take one cautious step backward. The ground accepts it. Too easily. Your heel sinks slightly deeper than expected, and when you pull your foot forward again, the impression remains darker than it should be. You turn slowly. The path behind you is no longer clear. Not erased. Not blocked. Just rearranged. The corridor you walked through is narrowed into something thinner, less defined. The trees lean inward at angles that feel deliberate. Their branches overlap more densely, weaving together overhead like ribs closing around a lung. The mist gathers between them. Dense. Layered. You try to trace your memory of the way back, the bend to the left, the slight rise in the soil, the hollow beyond, but the geometry does not match. The forest has adjusted itself. You take a step toward what you believe was your path. The hum beneath the ground shifts instantly. Not louder. Closer. A subtle vibration travels through your boots, up your legs, into your ribs. It feels like warning, not aggressive, but corrective. You stop. The vibration settles. You step again. The vibration deepens. The trees ahead of you seem darker than before. The bark absorbs what little light remains. The spaces between trunks feel narrower, compressed, as though distance has been folded inward. You understand now. The forest is not blocking your escape. It is discouraging it. You turn back toward the darker shape ahead. It is still there. Unmoving. Watching. The air between you feels heavier, almost visible, as if space itself has thickened into something that resists passage. You swallow slowly. The sound is too loud in your own ears. A branch snaps somewhere to your right. Not sharp. Careful. Measured. You turn your head. Nothing. But the trees on that side stand closer together than before. The angle between them has shifted by degrees too small to notice directly, yet impossible to ignore. The forest is closing symmetry around you. Not rapidly. Patiently. You take one step backward again, testing the ground. This time, the soil beneath you feels warmer. Not heat. Presence. Like the faint warmth of something living beneath layers of earth. You pull your foot away quickly. The warmth fades. The hum continues. The mist rises slightly higher now, brushing your thighs before settling again. It does not wrap around you. It does not trap you. It simply adjusts its height to match your movement. You step forward toward the darker shape. The ground firms immediately. The vibration beneath your feet aligns more smoothly with your movement. The air grows colder, but steadier. You pause mid-step. The difference is undeniable. Forward feels stable. Backward feels wrong. You test it again. One step back. The hum distorts. The soil softens. The branches above creak faintly without wind. One step forward. The vibration stabilizes. The mist parts slightly. The trees ahead seem to straighten. The forest is teaching you direction. Not with force. With comfort. You stare into the darkness ahead. The shape between the trees remains indistinct, not a body, not an outline, just density within shadow. It does not approach. It does not retreat. It waits. You take another slow step forward. The hum deepens. The mist parts just enough to allow passage. Behind you, the corridor shifts again. You hear it this time, the subtle grinding of wood against wood, bark sliding against bark in movements too slow to be natural. You turn sharply. The space behind you is narrower now. Not enough to trap you. But enough to ensure that turning around would require effort. The branches overhead knit tighter together, sealing what little light filtered through. The forest is not in a hurry. It knows you will choose forward. Your breath grows slower. Not from calm. From inevitability. The darker shape ahead seems slightly closer now. Or perhaps the forest has shortened the distance between you. You cannot tell which. The ground beneath you pulses once, a slow, heavy thud that travels outward through the soil like a heartbeat amplified through earth. You freeze. The pulse does not repeat. But the silence afterward is thicker than before. You step forward again. The mist parts wider this time, forming a subtle corridor that guides you directly toward the darker mass between the trees. The air feels thinner, more precise. Your exhale lingers longer than it should, dissolving sideways rather than upward. The trees on either side lean inward by degrees too small to measure, but enough to frame your movement like walls narrowing toward a single point. You glance back one final time. The path is still there. Technically. But it no longer feels like yours. The forest has already begun closing it, not sealing it, just reclaiming it. You face forward. The darker shape remains silent. Still. Waiting. The hum beneath the soil grows slower. Deeper. Heavier. And as you take another step into the narrowing corridor of trees, one quiet realization settles into your chest like cold air filling your lungs. The forest does not chase. It does not trap. It does not hunt. It rearranges. And now. There is only one direction left. You take another step forward, and the air around you shifts again. It's not the temperature this time. It's not the mist. It's the feeling of the forest itself tightening, as though the entire space between the trees has compressed just enough to make your movements feel wrong. The trees ahead seem closer. Not visibly, they haven't moved. But their trunks appear more pronounced, as if they've leaned inward slightly to narrow the space ahead. The canopy above is denser now, blocking more of the faint light that managed to filter through before. You stop. Not out of fear, but out of awareness. The ground beneath you feels softer, like wet earth clinging to your boots, pulling slightly with every movement. Your foot sinks just a little deeper than it should, and when you pull it back up, the soil resettles, leaving behind the faintest imprint, deeper than before. You glance behind you. The path is still there, but it's already different. Not physically, but in the way the trees lean in from the sides, how the shadows gather closer at the edges, how the space between trunks has narrowed so gradually that it's difficult to recognize how far you've come. A soft creak echoes from the distance, deep within the forest. You turn your head, but there's nothing visible. Still, the sound lingers, like a memory tugging at the edges of your thoughts. It's not the forest itself. It's something beneath it, something ancient, waiting for you to come closer. You continue walking. But every step feels heavier. Not physically, but perceptually. It's as though the forest is pulling at your sense of movement, testing your decision, pulling you deeper into its embrace. The ground beneath your feet feels alive in ways you can't explain. You think you feel the air shift behind you. You don't turn. Not because you don't want to, but because something inside you already knows that turning will change everything. Ahead, the path begins to curve. The space between the trees bends naturally with the way the land shifts. The trunks seem to gather, guiding your steps, framing your next movement as if the forest is setting your course for you. You step into the curve, and immediately, the ground shifts beneath you. It feels as though the earth is moving, just beneath the surface. The hum from below grows faint, like the pulse of a living creature who is still too distant to touch. The mist around you thickens, though the air is still. You glance to your left. A root stretches upward, curling across your path. It rises higher than it should, twisting around itself as though drawn toward the ground, reaching for something buried beneath. You step over it carefully, not wanting to disturb it. The forest remains silent. And yet, something beneath it is watching you. Something ancient. It has been here long before you. And it is still here now, waiting. You move again. But now, the forest is not simply observing. It is aware of you. Every tree seems to be leaning toward you, not in any obvious way, but in a subtle shifting of presence. Their trunks appear closer, their shadows longer. The spaces between them seem to shrink without making a sound. You pause. The mist has thickened ahead of you. It no longer feels like simple fog, but something heavier, more deliberate. It curls around the base of the trees, gathering in small pockets between the trunks. The space ahead seems dense with it, like a slow-moving tide that threatens to engulf everything. You step forward again, pushing through the mist. It does not block you, but it feels like it wants to. The air becomes thicker, harder to breathe. It clings to your skin, moving against you rather than with you. The trees ahead are more compact now, their trunks closer together, their branches stretched low enough that they almost touch your head. You take another step. And suddenly, you feel a shift in the atmosphere. The space between the trunks is no longer a path. It has become a corridor, slowly closing around you, tightening, narrowing. You feel the forest closing in, not like a trap, but like an invitation to something deeper. The ground underfoot shifts again, a faint ripple traveling beneath the surface, as if the forest is slowly adjusting the shape of the land to fit you, to fit the moment. You stop walking. Not because you are afraid, but because you feel the weight of the space around you, the weight of the forest, the weight of the path, the weight of the breath that moves through the trees. It is no longer just the forest. It is you. And it is not just a place you are passing through. It is a presence that has absorbed you, shifted the very air, and changed the shape of what you thought was solid. You turn again, very slowly. Not out of panic, but because you need to know. The space behind you is no longer the same. It is narrower now. The trees are closer, their shadows thicker. The mist has shifted, like a veil pulled over your past, blurring the way you came from. The forest is no longer just following you. It is guiding you. You have become part of it. You step forward again, but this time you feel no resistance. The trees move for you. The mist clears the way. The ground shifts gently beneath your feet, guiding your steps deeper into the dark heart of the forest. You do not fight it. You do not question it. You simply continue forward, because you know now, there is no turning back. You continue forward, but the further you walk, the less certain you are of the ground beneath you. The mist has become thicker now, more substantial, as if the forest itself has turned its breath into something dense, something solid that presses against you as you move. You are no longer simply walking through a forest. You are walking through a presence. It no longer feels like the path ahead is shaped by trees. It feels as though the trees are shaped by the path, as though the forest is bending and stretching to fit the direction you've chosen, or that it has already chosen for you. The ground beneath your feet shifts with every step, subtly, but enough to make you second-guess yourself. Each time you place your foot, the soil seems to shift, just enough to make it feel softer, like something deep beneath you is reacting to your weight. You stop. The trees seem closer now, the trunks appearing taller than before. Their bark is darker, the cracks and grooves etched into them seem deeper, older. The canopy above feels thicker, like a blanket of darkness that has slowly closed around you. You cannot remember exactly when the trees started leaning inward, when their branches started intertwining, forming a barrier between you and the outside world. But it doesn't matter. The space around you is bending. The world has shifted. The forest has adjusted itself to you, to your presence, to your movement. You can feel it, the pressure. The weight. The subtle pull of the earth beneath your feet. It isn't a force. It isn't a threat. It's a pull towards something deeper, something older, something that doesn't need to rush, doesn't need to force you forward. You take another step. The path ahead isn't clearer. It's just darker. The trees ahead seem to open slightly, but it's an illusion. They've simply adjusted their distance, making the space feel larger while actually pulling you in further. The ground seems to tilt downward, not sharply, but gently, guiding your feet further into the forest's embrace. There is no longer any escape. Not because the trees are blocking you, but because the space around you has changed. It is no longer about distance. It is about alignment. The hum beneath the ground deepens, moving through the soil like a steady pulse, not a heartbeat, but something older, something patient. The mist moves in response, swirling gently around your ankles, then rising slowly around your calves, as though it is adjusting to your pace, as though it is breathing with you. You glance behind you. The path has closed behind you. Not visibly, but perceptibly. The trees have leaned closer. The darkness has grown deeper. The air has thickened. You don't need to see it to know. You cannot go back. You were never meant to go back. You pause again, this time for longer. The hum beneath you is louder now, but not in a way that makes you feel threatened. It is deep and steady, like a distant sound from below, like the vibration of something alive, something vast. And as you stand there, the mist continues to swirl around you, the forest breathes with you. You are no longer simply walking through the forest. You are becoming part of it. The trees seem to bend inward as you step forward, not violently, not with force, but with subtle, deliberate motion, guiding your steps further into the heart of the forest. The canopy above has thickened, blocking out all but the faintest light. The space feels like a chamber now, like a place that has been carved out specifically for you. You breathe in deeply, and the air feels different. Not fresh. Not new. But thick, ancient, carrying the weight of centuries of growth, of decay, of memory. The ground underfoot responds to your breathing. Not because you control it, but because the forest itself is listening. You take another step forward. And the trees close in just slightly more. Not visibly. Not enough to be noticed in a direct way. But enough to make it clear that the path is no longer a path. It is a corridor. A narrowing, enclosing space that has been carefully formed around you. You are not being trapped. You are not being chased. You are being guided. Not to escape, but to understand. The air grows heavier. The mist rises higher. The ground shifts subtly beneath your weight. And the trees continue to lean in, slowly, patiently, guiding you forward with their silent presence. You feel no urgency. No fear. Only the pull of something older, something deeper, something vast. You are no longer walking through the forest. You are walking through its memory. You step forward, but the air around you has thickened, not with mist, not with fog, but with something deeper. A pressure, a presence that moves between the trees like a breath held for too long. It isn't the forest watching you. It's the forest becoming you. The trees ahead seem to stretch farther now, their trunks growing thicker, their branches twisting into shapes that don't seem entirely natural. The shadows cast by the canopy above are deeper, more complex, as though the light itself is bending in response to your every movement. The ground beneath your feet shifts. Not in the way it has before. This time, it feels like the earth itself is adjusting to the weight of your steps, as though the very soil beneath you has become more pliable, more aware of your presence. It shifts beneath you with the same subtle, deliberate intention as the trees, guiding you without force, but with a steady inevitability. You pause again. The air is no longer cold. It is heavy. Full of something ancient, something deep, something vast. You feel it in your chest, in your bones, as though the forest has decided to breathe with you, to echo your thoughts with its own rhythm. You cannot tell where your breath ends and the forest begins. You close your eyes. For a moment, the forest doesn't feel like a place. It feels like a memory. Not your memory. The forest's memory. The time you thought was moving forward has begun to slow, stretch, and fold in on itself. Every moment feels like it is stretching backward and forward at the same time. You cannot remember what you were thinking before you stepped into this place, but you know that the forest has already heard those thoughts, already held them in its roots, in its soil, in its air. You open your eyes again, but nothing looks the same. The trees seem taller now, their branches more twisted, their roots thicker. The mist has risen around you, but it isn't the same mist that was there before. It feels thicker, heavier, like something else entirely. It doesn't float. It doesn't drift. It stands still, waiting. You step forward again, but the ground shifts beneath you in a way you haven't felt before. It's as though the earth is no longer beneath you at all, but around you, enveloping you, shaping itself to your form. The trees lean in, their trunks growing closer, their branches stretching outward, their shadows lengthening. You stop. The path ahead is not a path anymore. It is a corridor. A space that has been carved for you, a place that has been shaped for your movement. The trees are no longer standing still. They are shifting in response to you, bending around you, rearranging themselves so that you walk the path that has already been set for you. You move again. The air grows colder, but it isn't the chill of night. It's the chill of something deeper, something older than night itself. It presses against your skin, moving inward, reaching into the very fibers of your being, as though the forest is attempting to know you, to understand you. You glance behind you. The space you've already passed through feels different. Not distorted, but distant. The trees that once stood in front of you now seem farther apart. The shadows behind you are less defined, more hollow. The path you walked before seems to fade, as though the forest is already rewriting it, already closing it off. You do not look back again. You understand now. You are not merely walking through the forest. You are walking through time itself, through the forest's time, through its memory. The further you go, the more you feel that every step you take has been taken before. Every path you walk has been walked by something, someone, long before you. The forest is not leading you. It is remembering you. The hum beneath the soil deepens, vibrating through your legs, through your body, through your heart. It is not the hum of life. It is the hum of something far older, something that has watched all things come and go, something that has waited patiently for this moment. The mist coils tighter around your legs now, brushing against you, not with force, but with intention. It moves in patterns you can't predict, swirling in ways that seem to mimic your own movements, responding to your every breath. You try to walk faster, but the forest does not let you. Every step you take is mirrored by the forest's rhythm. The trees move just as slowly as you do. The ground beneath you shifts just as gently. The mist curls just as steadily. It isn't trying to trap you. It isn't trying to stop you. It is waiting for you. Waiting for you to reach the point it has been leading you toward all along. And you know, without thinking, that you are close now. The trees ahead have spread apart, forming a narrow gap between them, but you can feel the presence beyond it. The air is thicker there. The mist is denser. You can sense the pulse of something deep, something ancient, moving just beyond the reach of your senses. You step toward the gap. The hum beneath the soil responds. You step forward again, and the trees seem to move, shifting just enough to let you pass. The air grows colder still, but the sensation is not oppressive. It is the cold of truth, the cold of something that has waited so long that it is no longer concerned with warmth. You reach the gap. And you step through it. Not onto a path. Not into a space. But into the heart of the forest. And as you do, one thought settles into your mind like an echo. You are not meant to leave. You step into the heart of the forest, and everything changes. The air feels different here. Not simply colder, but thick, heavy, like the weight of centuries of silence pressing in on you. Every breath you take is filled with the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and something older than time itself. It's not an unpleasant smell, but it's ancient. Familiar. As if it belongs to the very land beneath your feet, to the roots that stretch out beneath the surface. The trees around you have thickened. Their trunks feel solid, too solid, as though they have grown not just from the earth, but out of it, as if the forest itself has formed around them like a shell around its heart. The mist swirls slower here, moving in slow, deliberate patterns that seem to follow you, reflecting every movement of your body, every shift of your attention. And then you feel it. A pulse. Not in the air. Not in the ground. But in the space itself. It's subtle at first, too faint to fully register. But it's there, rising and falling like the slow, steady beat of something vast, ancient, and alive. The ground beneath your feet shifts again, but this time it's not the same gentle pull you've felt before. It's firmer. More stable. As though the earth has begun to lock into place beneath you, aligning with the rhythm of the forest, with the pulse that surrounds you. You take a step. The ground responds in kind, moving with you, bending with your weight, shaping itself to your presence. The mist coils around you, as if the forest itself is adjusting to you, aligning you with its heartbeat. And for a moment, you feel completely still. The forest has stopped moving. The trees have ceased their subtle lean. The mist has stopped swirling. Even the hum beneath the soil has softened. Everything is waiting. For you. You stop walking. The pulse beneath the earth continues, but it's not a rhythm anymore. It's a presence, a heartbeat so steady and constant that it feels like it is resonating inside you, inside your chest. The ground beneath you feels alive, not in the sense that it is changing or shifting, but in the way it holds you, supports you, as though it is aware of your every move. You look ahead. The path, if it could still be called a path, is gone. The trees stand closer, their branches almost entwined overhead, blocking out what little light remains. The space ahead feels contained now, not by distance, but by presence. The forest isn't letting you move any farther, not because it has to stop you, but because it knows you are already where you need to be. The mist around you rises higher, swallowing the ground, the trees, the air, until you are standing in a soft, silent fog that seems to exist only for you. And you realize something quietly terrifying. The forest has always known you were coming. Not in a predatory sense. Not in a way that feels threatening. But in a way that feels ancient, inevitable. You were always meant to be here, standing at the heart of the forest, becoming part of it, as much a part of it as the trees themselves. You take a slow breath. The air is thick now, not suffocating, but heavier, like it carries more than just oxygen. It feels like it carries memories, like it carries the pulse of every living thing that has ever walked this earth. Every footstep. Every breath. Every moment. And the forest breathes with you. It doesn't mimic you. It doesn't echo you. It aligns with you. You close your eyes again, and the pulse becomes more pronounced. It is not inside you, but it is around you. It moves with you. It moves through you, the space between your breaths. The space between your thoughts. The forest is not trying to communicate with you. It is simply waiting. Waiting for you to understand. You open your eyes, and the space around you has shifted again. The trees have spread apart slightly, as though making room for you. The mist has settled, leaving only traces of its presence around the base of the trunks, curling through the roots like forgotten memories. The air is colder now, but it feels different. More welcoming. You take another step forward, and the ground beneath you responds again. It doesn't just support you. It shapes itself around you. The trees lean back just enough to create a passage for you, and the pulse beneath your feet deepens, not louder, but more resonant, like something vast that has been waiting to make contact. You don't need to look ahead. You know the path. You know where it leads. The trees grow taller, their branches stretching upward toward the canopy that now feels distant, unreachable. The ground beneath you is firm, steady, holding you gently as you move. The forest no longer feels like a place. It feels like memory. And you are standing at the center of it. You are a part of it. You are not an observer anymore. You are not a traveler. You are inside the forest, in its heart, breathing with it, remembering with it. You are no longer separate. You have always been part of it. The moment you step forward, the forest stops breathing with you. It stops everything. The air, the mist, the pulse beneath the earth. All of it freezes, suspended in a slow, heavy silence. You are no longer moving through the forest. You are no longer walking through time. You are inside it. The trees ahead of you don't look like trees anymore. They don't look like anything familiar. They have become part of something deeper, something vast, something ancient, that stretches far beyond the forest itself. Their trunks rise higher, their bark darker, their roots tangled and twisted like veins beneath the surface. The forest no longer feels like a place. It feels like a memory. Your memory. But not in the way you know memories. Not in the way you remember places or people. This memory is older, deeper, more ancient than any memory you could ever carry. The forest remembers everything. And you are part of it. You take another step forward, and the space ahead of you changes again. The mist has risen to your waist now, wrapping around you like cold, invisible hands. The trees lean closer, their shadows folding together to create a dark corridor leading deeper into the heart of the forest. But it's not a path anymore. It's a road. A road that has always been here. A road you were always meant to walk. You stop. For a moment, everything goes still. The forest holds its breath. The trees stand tall and silent. The mist presses against your skin, but it's not cold anymore. It's alive. It's watching you. You are part of this. You always have been. The ground beneath your feet feels different now. The soil is soft, but it doesn't shift under you. It feels more solid, more grounded. The trees around you seem to move in slow, deliberate motions, bending inward, making space for you. The mist that swirls around you becomes part of the air itself, filling every space around you. You are not alone. You were never alone. The forest is here. And it knows you. You turn slightly, and the trees seem to lean with you, as though they are following your gaze. The branches above don't just provide shelter. They guide you. The space between the trees is narrower now, closing in around you in a subtle, deliberate way. The hum beneath the earth grows louder again, but this time it doesn't feel like a vibration. It feels like a voice, deep, resonant, not spoken, but felt. The sound travels through your body, resonating with your heart, with your breath, with your thoughts. It is not an outside force. It is inside you. The forest is alive in a way you can no longer deny. It is more than trees. More than mist. More than soil. It is a memory, a presence, a consciousness that stretches through time and space, beyond what you can see, beyond what you can touch. It moves through everything, through the air, through the ground, through the very pulse of the earth. And you realize, with a quiet certainty, that you are not simply in the forest. You are becoming the forest. The trees are not just standing around you. They are you. Their roots are your roots. Their breath is your breath. The air around you has become your air, and the mist has become your thoughts, swirling and shifting with your every movement. For the first time, you understand. The forest is not waiting for you to leave. It is waiting for you to remember. You reach out. Not with your hand. But with your mind, with your breath, with your being. You extend yourself into the air, into the mist, into the trees, and for the briefest of moments, you feel them respond. The trees don't speak. They don't need to. They remember. And you realize, in that quiet instant, that you have always been a part of this. You are not a visitor. You are not an intruder. You are not a traveler. You are a memory. The mist swirls around you. The trees bend inward. The ground beneath your feet shifts gently, as though the entire forest is breathing with you. The hum beneath the earth rises and falls in slow, deliberate waves, like the heartbeat of the world itself. And as you stand there, in the heart of the forest, with the trees surrounding you and the mist wrapping itself around you, one final thought settles into your mind. You are not lost. You are home. The forest does not forget, it only remembers.